Hello, this is about the men who started the doctrine of the rapture and kept it going, and some who continue with that today. For a long time it was thought that John Nelson Darby came up with the whole idea, but other things have been uncovered. Let's see, there's a man named Peter Giroux who had a book in 1687, Philip Doddridge in 1738, John Gill in 1748, and Thomas Scott in 1792. So Darby didn't invent the whole idea. It was around, and nobody knows exactly where it came from. Well, these other men we don't know much about, but Darby, he was born to a wealthy family that were part of the Church of England. He became an Anglican clergy. Well, let's see, he went to Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland, and then he went on to start the Plymouth Brethren, and then later the Exclusive Brethren. And he was baptized in the Church of England at 4 months. And of course he had no need to be born again, because he was always a Christian, at least in his eyes. I don't know that it really got that big during that time until really after Israel was reestablished in 1948, and then along came Mr. Hal Lindsey. Lindsey was educated at the Dallas Theological Seminary, and he took all those things from those previous men and packaged them in a slick, cleverly titled book called The Late Great Planet Earth. It was in the mid-70s when I was in college in Georgetown, Texas. On Sunday mornings when I wasn't too hungover, I would go to the Baptist church. And in the Sunday school class, they weren't teaching the Bible, they were teaching Hal Lindsey's book. And Mr. Lindsey had prepared charts to go on the walls to go to these churches. And one of the charts was about wars in the world. Now back then in the mid-70s there were more wars going on than there are today. But he just made it look like it was just all hell was breaking loose. And it wasn't. There were conflicts in Africa and Southeast Asia and the Cold War. But certainly not what Jesus meant when he said nation shall rise up against nation. He's talking about all over the world. And then the other thing I remember was the earthquakes, the chart on the earthquakes, which he made it look like there had been an ever-increasing number of earthquakes for maybe the past 50 years, something like that. Well, the evidence is that since seismic testing began in the 1920s, there has been no change at all in the rate of earthquakes. In fact, today the last great earthquake was in Japan in 2010. And the San Andreas Fault hadn't had a major quake in 300 years. And the big one in Missouri, it's been, I believe 150 years since that great quake. And so anyway, he made up those charts, and that's all they did, and that's all they taught in that Sunday school class. And Mr. Lindsey has been married 4 times. He was sued for divorce 3 times in LA County. It's just hard to, how does a man of God get sued for divorce 3 times? Well, anyway, all those money he made off his book and many others he wrote, he made a fortune. Well, last time I looked, he's worth about $41 million. And for all the money he made, that's chump change. Well, what happened to his money? Well, the 3 women who sued him for divorce took him to the bank. Well, that's what he got for being a not so godly man. And then there's Tim LaHaye. He wrote at least 35 books about prophecy, most of them. And I don't think he's any longer with us. But his books run on Amazon and other places like $15 to $30 a piece. And he was known for the one called Left Behind, which was a bestseller. And then, of course, there's the one you see on YouTube and all that, David Jeremiah. And he recently had a book I saw on the shelf at Walmart called After the Rapture. Well, Dr. Jeremiah is a pastor of a Southern Baptist megachurch in California. You know, you look at all these people who make enormous amounts of money off these things, books and YouTube videos, and they're just endless. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie because they know they put all this stuff out there and make it sound more and more sensational, that they're going to get a lot of hits on YouTube, and they do. You can look at the number of views and see it. So, you know, when you listen to that stuff, you're not listening to men who have given their lives to Jesus Christ. They don't win souls. They don't even talk about that subject. They have no gifts of the Spirit. Remember, Jesus said, "These signs shall follow them that believe." And we know what they are. They'll cast out demons, and they'll lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover, and they'll speak with new tongues, and so forth. Well, you don't see or hear any of that from these men. Not at all. They don't care. They don't care about the Spirit. They don't care about the gifts of the Spirit. They don't care about the lost sinners in the world around them. All they care about is padding their wallets, making a name for themselves, and that's about it. So, I mean, why would anybody want to follow those men? It just does not make sense.